So I get asked a lot why I started Your Season, and actually, it's a funny story. So I went and visited my partner's parents. We just started dating, and his mum told me that I looked plain and that I should get my colours done. Well, I could have been offended or upset, but I'd heard about having your colours done before. There's these particular palettes that suit particular eye, hair, and skin combinations that like work really well to enhance, your looks. And I dabbled in it before, but I hadn't really done anything serious with it. And I went, maybe this is just like my invitation from the universe or whatever to follow through on it. So I did. I got my colours done, and the difference was almost maddening, actually. So before I got my colours done, I used to get, shouted at a lot. And I don't mean wolf whistled. I mean like, get out of the way, you're a nuisance, that sort of thing. I'm, a white female. I'm small. I look younger than I am. I look like an easy target. Once I got my colours done, though, not only did that stop, like immediately, people started making way for me. And like they'd apologize if they were in my way. People presumed that I deserved respect, that I had the right to take up space in the world, which obviously I had anyway. And I knew that. But, people were just handing it to me. It was a very weird experience. And then on top of that, obviously, I was putting together outfits that looked really nice on me. I was getting more compliments. It was easier for me to put items together. There's like particular rules within these different palettes, like what works really well together. So you sort of don't have to make as many choices. There's a lot more sort of help, which for me was good. Don't get me wrong, I'm an intelligent person, but I grew up in a not particularly well-off family. I grew up before, we had social media to help us know how to dress. And, I learned the hard way. And, even though I knew my shape and what sort of clothes were supposed to work on me, a lot of the times they didn't until I got my colors done. And then everything just sort of like locked into place. And for me, that was probably the biggest takeaway, this sense of relief that there was a system that just worked, And I mean, I love a good system. And, I was sold, I was hooked. I thought this was amazing. Then I realized really quickly that actually finding those clothes was really hard. Clothing colors that I'm particularly looking for, they have a blue base, there's some gray in it, and not a lot of white or black. That's first of all really hard to train your eye to recognize. That's already a pain anyway. But then, stores aren't necessarily carrying those colors. And if I do find an item that's in the perfect color, I might not actually like the piece of clothing. So it ended up being this huge time suck. And I was like, there's got to be a better way. So I remember I turned to my partner one night and I'm like, what if there was a website where you could just put in your palette and have this whole page of items that are going to suit you without you having to like search from them everywhere. And in his head, he's like, oh my God, this is going to be a lot of work. But bless him, to his, credit, he was like, that sounds like a really good idea. Like you should totally work on that. And he's been so supportive, which, is pretty incredible as well. As anyone who's, tried to start a business before will know, having that support is a huge factor. So yeah, I've been working on it for about the last year, and I just think it's this resource that should be available. It's just this missing piece. There's so many different ways of finding out your colors. There's online tests, there's online forums, there's, you can pay a stylist, which, I mean, I do recommend. They know what they're doing, and you only have to pay for it once, and then you have it, for your whole life. Like it's a solid investment. But then we're all sort of just let loose in the wild and sort of have to fend for ourselves. There's not really anything to help with the next bit, So that's why I created Your Season. And I think it's just such a wonderful system, We're coming away from fast fashion. working within your seasons allows you to build a capsule wardrobe of high quality items that are really hardworking and usually, performing multiple functions, and always based on putting the customer at the center. So much fashion at the moment is, well, this is what's popular, or this is what's currently in stores. Fit yourself into that retrospectively, rather than going, okay, well, what is it that you already have that we can enhance? I'm not necessarily the most attractive person in the world, but if I'm wearing colors that are working really harmoniously with me, I look awake, my skin looks really bright, my acne doesn't look as bad, and that's amazing. I feel like we should all just have that on tap. It seems almost like a basic right or something to me. Um, so that's why your season exists. That's why I'm working on it. And I really hope you can get as much out of this system as I have.